Yep, this is oh dear. Oh, yep, this is happening. This is happening. What's up, everybody? I am Ridercat in the flesh. Normally, don't see me on Twitch stream, or well, I usually don't have my face on stream when I'm on Twitch. But I figure, hey, today's the day. However, you may also know, may or may not also know that I also do a comic book podcast called The Comic Book Chronicles on theclicknation.com. It's every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Come check us out. We'll probably be talking about some of this then, but just in case we don't, or whatever we end up doing, I figured I'd come on and talk about my Free Comic Book Day haul, which, as you can see, this is most of it. Well, this is most of it. Let's say that. But like I said, if you want to check out the comic book podcast, that's it right there. It's at CBCron on Twitter. If you want to go check it out, check us out. I'll take that off the screen. So yeah, so like I said, I figured I'd do this real quick and talk about my haul because, like I said, Free Comic Book Day. I was about to do the wrong thing. There we go. Free Comic Book Day is here, and it is a great day. So if you don't know much about it, it's a yearly event where you can go to your local comic book shop, get a bunch of free books. Hopefully you'll buy something while you're there because those books. If you've heard us talk about this on last week's show, if you do watch the comic book podcast that I do, this is not news to you. But like I said, Free Comic Book Day happens every year around this time. Comic book shops give away a whole bunch of free books to. Well, it's a multi-purpose thing. It's to promote reading, it's to help get people into comic books, that kind of thing. And to to recognize that comic books are fun reading for everybody. There are books for young folks, there's books for old folks, there's books for just everybody in between, and it's kind of a thing. So like I said, if you're, the day's still young. If you haven't gotten out to your local comic book shop yet, do so. Go check out and see what they got. I'm pretty sure some places have like free food, or they might have an artist and a couple of artists and residents, and maybe some writers also, depending on your store. As a matter of fact, the site that I have up right here, freecomicday.com. If you go up at the top, there is a link to where you can find your local shop. So if you don't know where it is, go there, try to find that. And there is that. So before I start blabbering on too terribly much, let me go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm slightly disappointed because I went into my shop. So I've been back home from my shop for a couple of hours now, but it was just kind of eating and doing whatever, and going through my books, which I didn't really have time to. I love my shop. There's some good people that work there. Apocalypse Comics 2, where I live, so just to shout them out. But this is pretty much, it was a crowded day, just so I feel for the folks that work there. Even though it's a good chance to get some business, but at the same time, people are pretty much going in there to get to free comics. So it is what it is on that point. But nevertheless, and I wish I had taken some pictures, but I didn't. But that's all right. But went in there. There was a local writer, Chris Bowers, who is the writer of Youngbloods. The co-writer of Youngbloods, the co-writer of X-Men 92, and also the writer of Sword Quest, which, by the way, Youngblood apparently just got a second printing, so that was cool. And then there was a couple of artists in the back that I did not recognize that one of the ladies in the shop told me about, and I totally can't remember who the... Oh, yeah, now the guy was somebody that was a replacement for somebody. But they were having fun back then, so I didn't get anything done, but it was cool. There was a nice little crowd back there at the table, you know, as the as one of them was drawing, and it was really neat. But also, you know, they had in the front of the store a couple of tables where, like, as soon as you come in, you know, you see the rider that was right there, but the couple of tables that kind of had, and that all the free comic book stuff was on the table. So all you had to do is just go grab all of the ones that you wanted, and then take them around the corner to one of the ladies who would bag them up and, you know, tie it up. So if you want to do a little bit more shopping, you could do that. And of course, they have to tie it up because, you know, people are, you know, and it's not that big of a store, but, you know, as busy as that shop would be on that day, you know, you got to look out for people trying to steal stuff. And I've heard they have mentioned that things like that could happen, which, yeah, especially in a situation like that, it's makes sense to kind of keep all that stuff in check. Anyway, without further ado, and I hate actually looking at this camera because it's weirding me out here. So I'm going to try to run through this because me talking like this is not a normal occasion. I'm usually with a few other people, one and two. Public speaking is not my thing. So, I went in the store, kind of got my haul. I know this thing about me that I will try to, like, well, I'll just grab everything and then, you know, and sort it out later. Didn't do that this time, but I did also do that too, because I was just kind of grabbing stuff left or right. And I noticed there was some stuff already gone when I got there. I went in there about 11 o'clock, or actually, it's probably like a little after 11:20, something like that. So there was some stuff already gone. So I'm thinking that some of the stuff either they didn't get, or they more than likely, because it was so busy in there, people, and I think they did open early because normally they open like 10, and I believe. Hey Wolfie, how's it going on? How's it going, sir? Yeah, I'm doing the cam thing. This is going to be a rare occasion. So either they probably ran out because there were some spaces where there were some slots missing up from some stuff. Because like I said, they had everything nice and splayed out on both of the tables. So I probably missed out because I came when I did, and I'm not sure if they opened any earlier than 10 o'clock, which I don't remember if the girl told me or not. But regardless, it was busy in there when I got in there. So clearly people was coming. Good. I'm glad to hear it's going. Well, hopefully it's going good for you anyway. So, because I know how it is if it's not going well. Did you get to go? I don't know if you were into comic books or not, Wolfie, but did you get to go out and partake of the free comic book day stuff? Because that's kind of what I'm going through right now. And while you answered that, I will finish what I'm talking about. So yeah, like I said, got in. Just Cosmic and Rocket Raccoon. Oh yeah. Also for those, this is kind of slightly outside of the scope of this video, but it's all right. Wolfie's talking about in chat. He's Cosmic and Rocket Raccoon in Marvel Heroes, which is a game I stream with my friend Martian Cat on Mondays night. So if you're around, then come check us out. Then, and he's on the console version. The PC version is giving away a free baby Groot in honor of Guardians of the Galaxy movie just coming out, and I think they're also giving 2 fortune cards, which can get like buffs and stuff in it, so, or something. Not my thing, unfortunately. No, it's okay. Doesn't have to be. It's all good. Just was curious. So, unfortunately, this might be a slightly boring video because this is pretty much all I'm going to be talking about for the next couple of minutes. The stuff that I got when I went to the comic book store. In fact, I need to weed out some of this there. All right, so got my group pet out of the cards. Oh, okay. See, I I got my 2 cards because I was in there earlier. Well, like earlier this morning, I was in there trying to clean up my inventory, and I got my 2 cards, but I didn't get my Baby Groot. I don't think, and it wasn't in my it wasn't in my thing, unless it was already unless I missed something. I don't know, because I got my 2 cards, but I didn't see Baby Groot, and I did get my Shield Manifest, but I didn't see what was. I'm assuming it was the 2 cards. So I don't know. But, and you see me looking off to the side because I'm looking at Twitch chat right now, because this video is probably going to go up on YouTube. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, hi. So, so let's get on to this. On Free Comic Book Day, they have a bunch of free listings of books. There's a gold tier and a silver tier, and I have really never really known the difference outside of the fact that most of the gold tier stuff is from the bigger publishers. That's not always true, and I should probably find out what is the difference. But because there's DC Superhero Girls, so that may not be also true. Didn't get the buff either. But yeah, so like I said, I went in there, got all my books, or I got all the books most of the books, because there was some stuff I didn't pick up. It was funny because I saw some books that was there last year, which it happens because they might have had some old stock from, and some of the stuff I even did pick up, was some stuff from last year. So, and I kind of weeded that out, and that happens, sometimes when you have events like this, the comic book stores, they have to buy this stuff, and they order, I don't know how they go about ordering them, but they get a certain amount, and, what they get is what they get, but they also but like I said, they have to pay for them, which is also a good thing, which the other reason why I bring that up is because, if you're going to go for a Free Comic Book Day, or if you have, hopefully you at least bought something from your local comic book store, because, like I said, they have to pay for the free books that you get. So, help them out. Sometimes they'll have stuff on sale. I just saw somebody on Twitter got a bunch of Funko Pops for like $5 a piece. And I didn't even check. See, my store does usually keep Funko Pops, and I didn't... and I saw them on there, but I didn't see if they were on sale. It's just, I need to stop getting those things or kind of calm down on those things in the first place. I did get something, but we'll get on to that later. But yeah, so if I miss some stuff, it's either because they didn't have it on the table, because probably it was out, or maybe they didn't get it, because sometimes they don't get every store doesn't always get everything that there is to offer for Free Comic Book Day. So I'm just going to go through this real quick because there's really nothing. I haven't really read any of these books, but I just especially wanted to show off a couple that I'm kind of interested in reading. But we're going to start off like this. So this one's called The World's Greatest Cartoonist. And this kind of caught my eye. This is from Fantagraphics, who made this well, they make a bunch of books, but there's this set of graphic novels called Hip Hop Family Tree, and I think they also did a monthly comic, but I'm not sure if it's still going, and it probably still is. I love that book, the Ed Piskor, which actually they got him in here now, which maybe they even have some stuff from him, is featured in this book along with some other stuff, and they got this whole thing on the back. And a lot of times these Free Comic Book Day books are also kind of, you might think of them as ads for upcoming comic books. Like you'll see with the Marvel stuff, like there's an event going on called Secret Empire right now that the Free Comic Book Day book is pretty much a story of, and I think DC has some stuff there, because I noticed there was a Rebirth book in here from DC. They also had an Injustice 2 book, which I wanted, but they didn't have it at my shop, which I'll get to something in a minute about that kind of stuff, because, well, actually I get to it right now. So if you happen, and this is more than likely will happen for me, if you happen to, I can put that book to the side actually. somewhere. To miss Free Comic Book Day when it happens, but you're still interested in getting some of the books, Comixology usually has for free most, if not all, of the books that are featured. At least, definitely the gold tier stuff, and some of the silver tier stuff. Probably most of it. Now that I think about it, because this I definitely got the Secret Empire books. I'm pretty sure they gave stores money, and I got this Star Wars story. But we will get to all of that. But the Injustice 2 one, see if I can pull it up here. This is riveting, I know. There was an Injustice 2 book, and I know I got the information about the gold and silver wrong, so don't mind me on that one. Like I said, there are parts of the stuff that I couldn't tell you about, except for what I know from people who work in comic shops, like the people in my shop, or actually one of my podcast mates works in a comic book shop, so he's there at his store working away right now, and it's usually it's usually a time for them, so hopefully they'll have time to decompress when that is all over. But like I said, anyway, enough of all that. The main thing to say is, like, if you missed the books from Free Comic Book Day, you can always try Comixology within the next week or so if you are interested in getting the books, because usually they will have most, if not all. Sometimes I want to say DC and them are relatively good about getting, and some of the smaller publishers are pretty good about getting their books out within a few days of Free Comic Book Day. And Marvel, sometimes it takes a little longer for whatever odd reasons, But then again, they also do have an event. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes DC kind of waits a little long. I don't know what the deal is for them for the digital side of it, but usually one of them will take a little longer to get their books out on Comixology, whatever. But you can also check right there right now, because there's a bunch of free books from the past Free Comic Book Days that's there. If you go to Comixology and go to the search and do FCBD, or excuse me, FCBD, and then the year, or not even that, you just do that in the search and you'll see a bunch of free books come up. Or you could they even have a section that says free books. You can go there and they'll be sprinkled in there along with some other free books that you can check out. Nonetheless, there's a good chance you will find most of these books that I'm showing you right now on Comixology if you're interested. So, like I said, next book is this Avatar book. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of this real quick and pop. There we go. This Avatar book. I didn't watch the movie. I don't know too much about it. I just grabbed this book. I'll be totally honest. Oops, and I'm dropping stuff. And this is from Dark Horse. And I think they have a line of Avatar books. They actually have Avatar: The Last Airbender books also from Dark Horse. So that's not confusing at all. And they usually have a Last Airbender book on Free Comic Book Day. At least they have in the past. I don't think they had one this year. According to that list line, I'm not sure if I saw one. This one I am quite interested in. The Star Trek Next Generation Free Comic Book Day book from IDW. You see Mirror Picard looking all rough and a little bit swole there. And you see Data and Deanna. So I think there's now this might be something, like, as you look at the art is great in this. I'm looking forward to this, because I know there was a story coming up, I believe, or it's either happened already or it's going to happen already, that deals with the Next Generation Mirror universe. And I'm looking forward to that, because I am a Star Trek fan as well as a Star Wars fan. So either one of those, I'm happy to see some stuff with. And I believe in some of these Free Comic Books Day books, they'll usually have a couple of stories in them. So there'll be the main story, and then they'll have a backup story, which apparently this one absolutely does that with J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, and there's a bunch of books. There's a there's a book with them on it, in it also. So that ought to be cool. Actually, this looks like there's a couple of things in here because there's a and there's also a little backup about the Star Trek Green Lantern book. That ought to be fun. All right, next up, skip that one. Actually, I'm gonna put that back here. I should have done this a little different order. Wonder Woman Rebirth book. Now, Wonder Woman's going comic has been going on for I think it's like 20 issues or something right now. So, but it says special edition. So this is probably a reprint of the first one. As a matter of fact, looking at it, yep, looking at it, it seems to be a reprint of the Wonder Woman #1 issue, which is cool. You know, I'm not sure what the special edition part of it, because I actually have that issue digitally, but actually I shouldn't. Yeah, probably the case, but like I said, I will be checking this out. So, like I said, the Injustice 2 book I missed. I hate it, but I'm gonna check Comixology within the next week or so. Hopefully they'll have it. And from Archie, we got Betty and Veronica #1 for Comic Book Day. This is probably also, I have not read any of the current Archie books, so I don't know. This could very well be also a reprint of the #1 issue of the book, or there's a Betty and Veronica book coming out. I don't know. But I think there's already, I believe there's already a book, and this might be a reprint of it. I don't know. So, because like I said, I have not caught up with any of the Archie books. And here, from Bongo Comics, we have Bart Simpson. Now, usually there's a Bart Simpson free comic book day book. So there's that. Yeah, they still. Oh, not only do they still make Archie comics, so Archie Comics has the new Archie, the new retelling. They basically rebooted to be a little bit more realistic, almost like the Riverdale version, kind of. Except, not as CW. Well, I don't know actually. I take that back. It probably could just be as well, because there's even. Like there's a Riverdale show, there's a Riverdale comic based on the show. They've done one shots of that, and then there's the Archie reboots that they have now. So yeah, they still make them, and now of course they're still printing the digest, of the old Archie stuff. And I'm not sure if they're making any new ones of that stuff, but I know I still see a whole bunch of reprints for the old Archie material, which I don't know too many people who didn't grow up on Archie books. Like, I think that was probably one of the first, those were the first comics that I've ever read. And in fact, I still have a bunch of them, not in great condition, but I still have a bunch of them. So yeah, so here, that's from the new Archie book, which, like I said, it's been those books have been going for the better half of this year, definitely, and last year. They started last year doing this stuff, and like I said, I think I bought the first issue of Archie, and I never read it. And of course, like I said, they're still making the old stuff, for people who like that stuff. I have to check those out. Like, the only book, actually I take that back. There is one Archie book that I am reading at this point, and it's Josie and the Pussycats book, which is actually pretty good. It is being co-written by Marguerite Bennett, who does like DC's Bombshell stuff, and she has her own creator book called Animosity. which is actually all right. This is a weird book for what little I've read of it, but still pretty cool. But the Josie and the Pussycats book is really good. It's quite funny. Also, it kind of captures the mood of the old TV show for Josie and the Pussycats also, which I'm gonna partially do because I'm not that old, but I remember the shows coming back up in reprints. But anyway, I mean, syndication, whatever. So Bongo Comics, Bart Simpson. They usually have something for Free Comic Book Day. You know, if you're a Simpson fan, it's always good to check. It's good to check this stuff out. I know there was another book I probably missed out on. There's definitely there's a couple of Image Comics books. There's a Rick and Morty book that was there but I don't know anything about Rick and Morty, so I do know a little bit about Rick and Morty, but I'm not a fan, so eh. Let's see. This Boom Studio one I think was there, but I just didn't pick it up because it didn't seem that interesting to me. The 2080 one I didn't pick up. Paper Cuts Barbie, of course I wasn't gonna pick that up, but but yeah. So like I said, some of the stuff I missed out on because I didn't pick it up, and some just because I didn't have like the Injustice 2 book. So we have this other book from EC Comics. Yeah, Epicenter Comics. I've never heard of it. So there's a lot of way smaller companies that will do books for them. So it's also a good time to find out about comic companies you don't know about. Because everybody pretty much knows about Marvel and DC. Some people might know about IDW and Image, and then stuff like this comes along. It's like, oh, really? Because they really do make comics for pretty much anything. Anything you want to look into. So I don't know anything about this, but it looks like a Western. In fact, it is, according to look into the art. So I'll be checking that out later. It's called Tex Patagonia. Don't know anything about it, but hey. That's what Discovery is all about. Because usually, especially doing a comic book podcast, you learn to try to spread your wings a little bit more. Like Marvel and DC is their own thing, and they're going to be all right. But sometimes there's those little gems from the other companies that you find out about that are really cool. And I've been trying this for the last year or so to kind of branch out into other stuff to varying degrees. Let's see. Titan Comics. Speaking of smaller publishers, but Titan Comics, they usually do Doctor Who books. They have James Bond books. I believe this is a British company, if I'm not mistaken. You can't just base that on the book, but definitely is a thing. So they do, like I said, they do Doctor Who books. They do James Bond books. They do a couple of other books. There's this book called River of Blood that I have been checking out. That seems pretty cool. But Titan, I think this is their biggest thing is the Doctor Who books. So I'll be checking that out. And it's even current Doctor with Pearl looks like. With Bill. Her name is Pearl, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah. And looks like they have a little stories with like it says, 4 Doctors, 1 new story. So it's one of those situations. So that's cool. I'm going to skip that one for a second because I want to get to that one in a minute. I'm kind of excited about that one. Unique Studios. I have never seen or heard of this before. Malika, Warrior Queen. So, let's see. It says, enjoying the Malika Warrior Queen Free Comic Book Day Chapter 1 edition? Well, you can order the 140-page graphic novel, chapters 1 through 7 now. They give you a website. It says, created by Roy Akupe. I've heard that name before. I don't know it by heart, but I feel like I've known that name before. I mean, I've heard that name before somewhere. But, sorry. Here's a little bit of the art. check that out. So yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of it. Figured I'd give it a shot. Maybe this will we'll bring it up on the Thursday nights podcast. Let's see, from Red 5 Comics, which is a comic company that I've heard about, but I don't know is again a smaller company. But I have heard the name somehow, some way. You know, looking at solicits or whatever the case may be. Excuse me, I need a drink here. Excuse me. So as you can see, Kaiser Soze, Scorched Earth. I'm going to assume, and I feel pretty good about the assumption here, that this has to do with The Usual Suspects, which is a movie that I enjoyed. I don't think you would get too much of a disagreement of that. So this seems like a little bit more of an adult book, except there's no... weird. There's no nudity in it so far, but I'll hold this up. Oh man, some of the art. So I can only imagine. Oh, to be continued in Kaiser Soze Scorched Earth. So apparently, what Kaiser Soze has it says New York, 1986. So Kaiser Soze has a book. Who knew? And then there's something else. There's a backstory about something called the Rift, and apparently Jerry, according to the front page, Jeremy Renner of Avengers and Mission Impossible fame has something to do with this. It says, presented by Academy Award nominee Jeremy Renner, The Rift tells the story of a single mother and her son whose lives change after witnessing a World War II pilot from 1941 crash land in present-day Kansas. So it's a time thing. Okay. So it's almost like Philadelphia Experiment, I guess. That could be cool. It's called The Rift. There's some art from it right there. I know. I'll read this sometime later. And getting to my last few books, because I'm probably going to wrap this up. I've been probably going on way too long, and I realize I have a tendency to ramble. So thank you for anybody who's come along and stayed for as long as they have, because I know me. Catalyst Prime from Lions Forge. So Catalyst Prime is it's not an imprint. Lion Forge is a smaller company. They put out like Voltron books, but they just started this. They just started a set of superhero books. Catalyst Prime being the universe of this book. As a matter of fact, I have. Sorry for the rustling. I should probably have. I should probably have muted my mic. But here, blam. So this is the first book that just came out this week, actually, from the Catalyst Prime line, and it's called Noble. It was actually a pretty good read. We'll be talking about that. We talked about it this past Thursday when we did our show, and unfortunately, this was the only book I had read this week. And I was glad I did, because it was a pretty good start of a book, you know. And there are actually 2 other books that are starting in this line in the next couple of months. But, you know, that's one thing. And Lion Forge put out a Free Comic Book Day book based on the Catalyst Prime universe, which Noble and the other books in the liners is going to be encompassing. And it looks like, Oh, the other thing I love about this because I know I've been reading about the Alliance this Catalyst Prime universe, and there's a lot of good writers. More specifically, Christopher Priest, which was a favorite of mine for the Black Panther series that he did in the '90s. He's also writing Deathstroke for DC right now, so he's a pretty good writer. And there's a bunch of other people that's doing stuff for Lion Forge for this universe, and it's going to be a diverse line because it's going to because the big two don't really have, well, they're starting to, but they don't have really writers, a whole lot of writers of color, if any. So and Lion Forge is just trying to change that with this line, and I wish them luck. So the event is supposed to be something that's, from what little I know about it, the event is changing. Thank you for the heart, Wolfie. By the way, I did notice that. I'm liking it. I shouldn't do this, but apparently there's an event that's going to happen on Earth. People start getting powers from it. I don't want to. I don't want to liken it to the new universe from Marvel, but that seemed to be the closest parallel from what little I know about it right now. And if anybody from Lions Forge and especially Joseph Illidge or anybody happen to see this, that is not my intent to compare the universe like that, because I still don't really know. But once I read this, I'm pretty sure I'll figure that out. Because like I said, seems to be talking about the event that's going to change a whole bunch of people's lives. Like I said, the art looks great, and from what I've read from Noble, this is going to be a universe that I'm going to be definitely looking into. So, and actually, maybe I shouldn't show that. But yeah, looks like this book is definitely going into the event that probably kicked off before Noble did, whatever the case is. But like I said, this is one of the books that I was definitely looking forward to picking up during Free Comic Book Day. And like I said, whenever the other books start, I'll be looking forward to those. And now, since I didn't get the Injustice 2 book, the last couple of books that I had before I get to what I bought, Guardians of the Galaxy, they also actually had a start of a new ongoing comic this week. This is obviously from Marvel, so there is that. And looks like there's going to be a backup for the Defenders book that is coming out in a few months. I believe that should probably start by the time the show actually comes out in August. I can't remember when the book is coming up, but yeah, so so Brian Michael Bendis was writing the last volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. He ended his run, and Jerry Dugan, who's written, I know he writes Deadpool and a few others. I think he might have written Nova. I don't remember because those are the books I haven't even read. But he's taking over Guardians of the Galaxy. I haven't checked out this week's issue yet, but I plan to. I've been doing other things, so there's a story in here, and I don't know where it's taking place. It may have something to do with this week's issue. I don't know. It could be this week's issue. Probably not, though. And then there's a backup with the Defenders, so there is that. And last but not least, for the creep-free stuff, the elephant in the room. Apparently, Secret Wars. Oh man, I wish we were back at Secret Wars. There was some good stuff. Secret Empire from Marvel, and this is the Free Comic Book Day issue. There's also a backup story with Spider-Man. Apparently, Chip Zdarsky, he wrote Howard the Duck. He is the artist on Sex Criminals with Mac Fraction for Image. but he's been doing some writing for Marvel lately. Like I said, he's done Harvard the Duck. He's apparently doing Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man at that. Uh, and I can't remember what else he's done. He's all right. He's had some good stuff. He's more of a Joker writer. I guess him writing Peter wouldn't be a bad fit, you know. So I can't remember what else. Oh, I know he's written Jughead for Archie, because Jughead's got a book of his own. Because of course you can't have an Archie line without a Jughead book. Anyway, so I haven't really been keeping up with the Secret Empire stuff. I'll be brutally honest. Like, we talk about it on the show, and I will catch up at some point. But I'm event fatigued out, and I don't know. This one, hey, I'll see where it goes. Like I said, it can't be no. I was about to say it can't be no worse than any other event, but that's like, we've had some very bad events, folks. I can promise you this. But yeah, so here's a little bit of art from that. I don't know if that's gonna tell anything or whatnot, but there is that. And I don't know if I should be reading this before. Sometimes Marvel usually is pretty good, used to be pretty good about saying, hey, this book comes before or after XYZ book, and sometimes they don't do that anymore. So, if that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what will. And I don't know what the deal is about that. And of course, you get the Spider-Man backup there. There's some art from it. So yeah, like I said, that is pretty much my haul from Free Comic Book Day. Well, I'll take that back. That is not the end of my haul. That is the end of the actual new stuff. Because my shop has a bunch of old stuff, and I'm going to go through these really, really quick. From an event last year called Halloween Comic Fest. There was, and I don't know why I picked this stuff up, because I'm not really a big Halloween fan, but I picked them up anyway. So, and speaking of the Archie line, which we were talking about, there's a Sabrina book that they must have given out during this event. There's, oh yeah, so the Archie line had a book called Afterlife with Archie, and that I heard was that was supposed to be pretty good. And now they're going to have an Afterlife with Archie season 2, and I guess they must have given away. So I guess Halloween Comic Fest, from what I saw, is kind of like a Halloween version of Free Comic Book Day. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that. I don't know. But it looks like my shop had these books, and they were giving them out for Free Comic Book Day. Which, you know what? Hey, if you got backstock like that, you might as well give them out when you can. And then this was something else. I don't even know what the heck this is about. But this is like newsprint. This is... Oh, okay. But I've heard of Drawn and Quarterly. Yeah, there we go. I should probably... This looks like a manga. So, don't know what that's about, but I'm going to check it out anyway. There's a company called Aftershock, which... Aftershock is the company I mentioned Marguerite Bennett running Animosity. Aftershock is the company that she is writing the book for. And there's this book called BEK, Black Eyed Kids, who the co-founder of the company is writing. That's Joe Pruitt. And I guess this was something they gave away during Halloween Comic Fest. This, I have no idea what this is. But I picked it up because I didn't. So, oh, and this is from Viz Media. You know them from the animes and and manga and whatnot. So this looks like to be another manga. So right on. Valiant is another comic book company. I don't know where this book came from. Well, this is a couple of years old, because I believe this stuff is old. Because Armor Wars was a couple of years ago. I don't know. Or if this is new, then I'm not aware of it because I honestly don't read anything from Valiant. Dark Horse. So I'm not sure where this one came from either. But Dark Horse Comics is 20 years of comics. I don't know if this is from this year or this is from last year. This might be from last year, I think. Can't remember. But like I said, this wasn't. I don't think this was for Free Comic Book Day this year. This is probably some stock that my store still had. But it's got like some art in here, and talking about some of their books, and yeah, this is absolutely old because it's got Star Wars in here. So Dark Horse used to have the Star Wars license before, Marvel got it back. So, which they had some good stuff too with the Star Wars books. And matter of fact, you can see some of that stuff because I think they took all the books from Disney, swooped up all the books from Dark Horse and put them on Marvel or something like given to Marvel or something like that. However that works out, I really don't know. But yeah, it looks like a bunch of art from a bunch of Dark Horse books. I'll just go through that. There's that. You can see Darth Vader, because like I said, this has to be a couple of years old. But regardless, there's that. And here's another Wildstorm / DC thing. This is also another old thing. I'm not sure. Well, they probably had this lying around, but I don't remember them having this last year. So this is an old DC Wildstorm book. So Wildstorm is actually back now that I think about it, because there's a book right now called The Wildstorm. It is they're bringing back the imprint and kind of revitalizing it. This was a book called Planetary by Warren Ellis, Warren Ellis is still writing because he's writing the one of the current Wildstorm books now. Actually, I think the main one. I've heard some good things about Planetary. Like, this is an old book, so this book is not even, like, you can find this book out there somewhere, but it's not currently running. They've had a couple of volumes of it. So this book, wherever this book came from, they've been sitting on it for a while or something, or they might have just they found these copies and had them. But this looks like a reprint of Planetary #1. I'm not sure. I've read a little bit of it, and it intrigued me, but I've never read the whole volume. I have read Warren Ellis's, and this is a great book if you ever get a chance to read it, or if you like the kind of stuff. He wrote for Marvel. He's written for DC. He's written for a bunch of people. Planetary is one of them. And the reason why I'm stalling him is because I'm drawing a blank, even though I've said I just love this book. Next Wave, Agents of Hate, that Warren Ellis wrote for Marvel. I love this book. It is so crazy. It is Monica Rambeau, Elsa Bloodstone, Machine Man, Boom Boom from X Factor, and some guy that called them the Captain, because Captain America told him not to use his name or something like that. Either way, they all are grouped together. Some would say it was out of continuity, but apparently there's been some fairly recent stuff as of last year that made it canon continuity. So that's pretty cool. But if you ever get a chance to read that comic, it's only 12 issues. It was really good. It gets kind of crazy, but it was good. And that's it for that. And no Free Comic Book Day would go without supporting your local comic book shop. Because like I said, if you're going to go into one of these comic book shops on this day and grab all these free books, please buy something. If it's not a little pen, which I bought like 2 little pens, like little Captain America shield pens, and I put them somewhere. Sorry for the rustling. I'm professional. If you've seen me and Kat stream on Monday nights, you know how professional that is. So they had like Hydra logo and Captain America shield pens, and I grabbed 2 shield pens. So That's cool. I'll probably wear that at a con. But I also bought this. So, being a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy, as I am, I have the actual single copies. I want to say I have most, if not all, of the run of the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which is this book from the 90s, probably in my garage somewhere. But I wanted to get the collector works because that's just me. I think I did the same thing with Black Panther, even though I don't have all the single issues, not yet anyway, but I will. So yeah, I already had the volume 1 of it. This is volume 2 supposedly. I don't know. They did this thing weird where they started it off with a volume 1, but then they changed the name to In the Year 3000, and then they called it volume 1 again. So if you don't know, before the current run that the movie crew is based off of, which their book is based off of the 2000 something odd run, like 2008, 9, I don't remember. But Guardians of the Marvel did a whole cosmic push, brought the Guardians of the Galaxy back with the team that you all know from the movies. But that's pretty much the Guardians everybody knows. There was another crew of Guardians of the Galaxy, which I don't want to spoil the movie. You may see a couple of the older ones in the new Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all I'm saying. That information's already out there. So if I spoiled anything for anybody, I apologize. But like I said, that information's kind of been out there. So yeah, the OG Guardians were another group before the group you know now, and in fact, and I say this because Yondu, if you've seen either of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, Yondu is one of the Guardians of the Galaxy. In fact, he's not here on this one. Wait. I'm trying to remember. See, this book, I love this book because it was kind of crazy and it was 90s as it was. This might have been when Yondu left. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was because this book, this run lasted for, I don't know, probably good 56 years. Might be more than that. I can't remember, but it had a pretty good run on it, regardless. And the original Guardians, had a good run, and then some people left the group, and a couple of people stayed, and things happened, and they got new people to the group. That's why you see the makeup of it of it right now. The Captain America looking dude is this dude called Vance Astro, which I'll show you in a minute because that's not how he normally looks. I'm not gonna go through the whole history of the Guardians, but ask me one Monday night or whatnot, and I'll be glad to talk about that because I love the OG Guardians a whole lot. Like the Guardians we have right now are cool. But these are the Guardians I am more familiar with. Oh wait, here we go. Let's see. Right here, the dude with the bow and arrow. That's the Yondu from the OG Guardian. So he's not like the one. He was definitely nothing like the one that is that Michael Rooker is playing in the movie. So rest that. All right. So that was everything I got from the comic shop, and I'm going to end this because this has been going on way too long, and I appreciate anybody from sticking around. Like I said, but one last thing, I went to Toys R Us, and I'll probably be talking about this more on Thursday, but I went to Toys R Us right after the Free Comic Book Day stuff, and because I was looking for some Transformers for some sort of reason, but I ended up getting this. This is the Vance Astro that I was talking about, and that might not play because of the light. So I apologize about that. But so the main thing what Vance Astro was, I will say this much: he was from Earth. He grew up idolizing Captain America. The future him came back. The future him that is in the Guardians of the Galaxy from the year 3000, because he was an astronaut who got cryogenically frozen, ended up being unfrozen in the year 3000 when the Badoon, I am now going into Guardians history, when the Badoon had taken over the Earth, and he became a slave and met up with the other Guardians, and they escaped, and then they started fighting folks. That particular set of Guardians ends up going back to the past and meeting the Avengers, and Vance Astro met his younger self, and Vance Astro was a mutant who had telekinetic powers, and he accidentally, well, probably not accidentally, kickstarted his powers. So now that changes history a little bit. So some say that the Guardians in 3000, which this Vance Astro is from, is an alternate timeline, something like that. I don't know. It's a weird comics. But yeah, but in this Guardians book, the reason why he has a shield is because they went on a quest for the shield, because the shield was some icon, some iconic thing that he was using to rebel, uprise, because like I said, the Badoon was out there taking over plants and whatnot. And so they went looking for the shield. He found it, and somehow he ended up being able to take off his spacesuit, because the spacesuit he has on here, he was sealed in and couldn't get it taken off of him because he was 1,000 years old, and if he took it off, his skin would rot. But apparently, somehow, that ended up not being the case for a little while. I don't know. Comics are weird. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. I hope you enjoyed it, or at the very least fascinated by me making an idiot out of myself by doing this right now. That said, my name is RowdyCat. If I didn't say so in the beginning, I'm pretty sure I did. You can find me on Twitter at RowdyCat. You can find me on Twitter at NewsNerdsNeed. You can also find me on the Comic Book Chronicles podcast every Thursday night, 9 p.m. TheClickNation.com, TheClickNation.com, /live, TheKlickNation, all one word. You can also find The Click Nation on YouTube as that. You can also, on YouTube and Twitter as that. And you can also find the Comic Book Chronicles Twitter at CBChron. That's CBChron. CHRON, excuse me. So with that, I will talk to you guys later. I don't know. I was supposed to stream earlier today, but I didn't. I'm going to get me some sleep. Hopefully this is going to go up on YouTube later, if I decide to do this. If not, you're welcome. But my next scheduled stream out of that is this coming Monday with Martian Cat. So we will probably be doing Marvel Madness again, or we might be doing something else. I'm not sure, but we'll probably be playing Marvel Heroes. But stay tuned to the Twitters to find out. And with that, bye-bye.